Okay, we're on Mishlei 26. Unprepared. Yeah, I mean, I did put in the English translations from before, but other than that, I also happen to note mentally that I believe this is one of the few pesukim in Mishlei that uses any word having to do with chesed. Yeah. Okay. Rav Adam Yikra Ish Chastel. How do you translate that? Sorry. 20 Vav. Yeah. Rav Adam Yikra Ish Chastel. Ish Emunim Mi Yimtza.
So the muchness of a person.
Okay, I'll type that. The muchness of a person
will be called Yikra Ish Chastel. Will call a man his
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make the assumption that the Ish is the one who's Yikra.
Okay.
Right? That Yikra, like Ish, Rav Adam Ish Yikra Chastel or something like that.
Right.
Meaning I don't think it's the Rav that's calling.
Right.
Yeah, and this is
okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what you meant when you said it, but that's how it sounded to me when you said it.
Yeah.
Man will call his kindness. Okay.
Can the Rav mean like many?
Yeah, I think you mean many or great as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And
a believable man.
Well, what would be more literal?
Man of trust.
Yeah, man of trust, faithfulnesses. Man of trust or faithfulnesses. Mi yimtza.
Who can find it?
Who will find?
Who?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's very difficult to translate here. I had another observation. Oh yeah. Did you tell me on Shabbos a pasuk that had the word emunim in it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, and yeah.
Is that how you got trust?
Yeah, because like the plural of emuna.
Yeah.
Would be yeah.
All right. So sadigon. Is there a sadigon? I think there's, right. Timtza b'nei adam kol echad mitayr chaste atmo. Wow. Okay. This is already more than translation, right? You will find people.
Is it
What?
Rove.
I don't have rove. Yeah. Okay, fine. So rove makes sense.
Yeah.
Rove b'nei adam.
Yeah.
That in rove, you'll find that that's even better. Most people, kol echad mitayr chaste atmo. Each one will describe his own kindnesses. Okay. Ubal emunim be'emes miyimtza. But a literally master of trusts sounds like a financial stewardship agreement, like your trust fund. Like there's the trustee and then the master of trust.
Yeah. It's not an escrow agent.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Computer science. In truth, who can find? Oh, I finished my taxes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I have IFS comments about it later, but all right. Okay.
Do anything.
Yeah.
Taxes next year.
Yeah. One thing I learned in Mishleic lesson is I have to get an accountant for next year. The reason why it was so difficult this year is because all my finances are different this year, and it wasn't just like one job. So really time consuming, stress inducing. Yeah. Okay. Targum Ksuvim says, but funny thing that made me feel irrationally better is when I was talking, I ended up using the TurboTax feature where you can talk to CPAs live, So the first guy I talked to sounded like a kindly old man, accountant, and he mentioned, he was like, I'm also doing my own taxes now. And I was like, oh, so he left at the last minute too. And it was totally irrational. Because it's not like I was even using that to justify actually pushing it off. It was just to make me feel better about the guilt from before. Oh, so messed up. All my emotions are in the taxes. Okay. Targum Ksuvim, I haven't prepared. Anything. Sug'a de b'nei nasha miskaryan gavre merachamane. The Gavra Mehimna Manu Mashkach. Okay, I think that's just literal. Sugad Dibnei Nasha. Sorry. He adds the prefix Dalid. Suga Dibnei Nasha.
Suga of.
Yeah, the great among mankind. Okay, the great among mankind, or the great of man. Miskaryan Gabre Marachamane.
Wait, could it be a lot of men?
I don't think so.
The majority of
I think
them.
that would be.
Maybe it could be the majority of man. It could be the majority of man. I don't know why I'm saying the great among men. That's my Aramaic intuition.
That would be Sagia.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I can't say that definitively.
That's my intuition. That's
Okay, yeah. All right, so whatever. But the
no,
knowledge
like
is the.
Sagia would be like
Majority.
not majority.
But yeah, that'd be a
There's
multitude.
a lot.
That'd be a lot. Yeah. All right, you know what? Let's just leave the talking to them now. I think we have enough on our plate.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we have. Oh, hold on, just one second here. Yeah. Wait. I saved it off. See if this isn't out so much. Okay. Yeah. Article. Among most people, each man proclaims his kindness, but who can find an honest man? So that's basically Sadikon, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Living Nach says, with the majority of people, each one proclaims how kind he is, but who can find a trustworthy man? Pretty much the same. And then Alter says, many a man is called faithful partner. Faithful partner. Where do you get? How about chesed? Faithful.
Oh, isn't that like another meaning for it? Or no, it's MS.
Yeah, that's MS.
Oh, yeah.
But who can find a trustworthy person? Okay, we're going to delete Alter, and then Living Nach and Article are similar enough that we'll just stick with them. Okay.
Author always has weird translations.
Yeah, well, that's why I like him, because he switches it up a bit. You know, I was,
Like where's he getting this from?
well, so I found two things. One is he will sometimes read the Hebrew in a more literal fashion than the Mepharshim typically do, and then you get interesting results, and that's why I like him. And then sometimes, which I don't like, which we've had before, he'll like be relying on like the Septuagint, like versions of the, you know. So yeah, but he's interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right. Questions. Oh, so do we have? Are we changing our initial translation? So we had your translation, your eloquent translation. The muchness of a person, man will call his kindness, and man of trust and faithfulness is who will find. Okay. So I think a man of trust who will find, I think, is a good for the second half. I think that's like, that's good. Who will or who can find? I think the implication is who can, just like Aisha style me himself, right? Yeah. And then
a man of convictions.
man of convictions is interesting.
Rational condition.
Wait for Adam.
No, for Ish Munim. Yeah. I that's possible. Yeah, it's possible. But for the first half, Rav Adam. So should we go with for now? It does seem like everyone who we've read has said it means the majority of men. Okay, so regarding the majority of mankind, of men, each man. So you got to add in the word each before each. Each man will proclaim his kindness. I think proclaim is better than call.
Sure.
For now, there's no messier, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah. And a man. So I have regarding the majority of men, each man will proclaim his kindness, his own kindness, and a man of trust who can find. Yeah. Or but maybe. It sounds like a but puzzle, right? But a man of trust.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions?
Well, sorry, I'm just not sure how to read the first half of the pasuk. Like I understand that like job, but I don't understand how to read the word.
Rav Adam,
That's most people.
among the majority of men, yeah, or with most people, Yikra Ish Chasto, each man will proclaim his kindness.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The ish is yifrakah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the kindness that he's
Yes.
proclaiming?
What is the kindness he is proclaiming?
What is the relationship between kindness and trustiness?
Yeah. I'm just gonna add on to that question as a second question. What kindness is he proclaiming? Why is he proclaiming it? What?
And sorry,
Yeah, go ahead, Ara.
I was gonna ask, and what does trust mean here? Like what?
Yeah. Okay, so let's ask that before Isaac. So what is an Ish Emunim? I would know if I'd ever found one.
What does it mean to proclaim here on chesed?
Yeah. How is he proclaiming it? In what way?
And
Okay.
who's finding? And who's the one finding it?
Yeah. So what is an Ish Emunim? Why is he hard to find? Who is looking or finding?
Why does it specify Rav Adam?
Yeah, I was about to ask
Yeah,
you.
why? Yeah, because that's true for
Yeah,
Mishlei. Yeah, right.
Yeah, if you say, if you say each different costo, it would mean most people.
Yeah, yeah, right. So Mishlei is, in general is talking about the majority of people. Yeah,
Unless we say Rav means great. That's what-
right. That's true. Yeah, yeah, that is true. Sadigon is definitely. There's at least a question on Sadigon.
Right, and
Right.
also like, what's the difference between the master Ishamunim and one who will describe it?
And one who will.
Proclaim.
Right, that's
Oh,
what
pro-
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying, what's the-
Oh yeah. Sorry. Just to clarify the Sadigon translation, Matire is to describe. Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Okay, yeah, I just got thrown off by saying describe. Sorry, I missed. Say what you said again.
Rav, when you were saying if it means
Oh yeah, I was saying
Right,
Sadigon says it means the
the
majority of people.
majority.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
then we were saying the last question that Isaac said, which is what's the relationship
Yes.
between the man who proclaims
What-
of kindness and the man of truth?
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and phrase that in a more broad way as what's the relationship between the two halves of the pasuk.
Mhm.
Are the, I mean, I guess we already framed it as but are the two ishes the same?
I would think not.
But ish,
I would think not,
Why not?
because it's contrasting. You got an abundance of people who are ish who proclaim their own kindnesses, but no one can find an ish emunim.
oh,
So
it has to be opposite.
it has to be opposites. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not even gonna put that as a question. Yeah.
But the first Adam and Ish, that's the same.
The first Adam is like the pool, and the ish is the particular person
Mhm.
within it. Yeah. And the Ishamunim presumably is also, well, actually is Adam is the species, right? And Ish is the individual person. So Rav Adam is among the majority of the members of the species. Then each member proclaims his own kindness. But then an Ishamunim, who's also part of the species, who can find? He's in there somewhere.
And he's not part of the Rav Adam.
He's not part of, he's
part of
in a bottle barov.
You know, but
And if we say that Rav means great here, like how would that change that?
I wouldn't know how to read it. Right? Rav Adam, I wouldn't know how to read it if it was great.
Right.
But I'm definitely having like a strong like feeling of like association to like some phenomenon of like a lot of people are like claiming something, but it's like hard to find someone who actually has it. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I think so also. Meaning that the ish emunim is the one who has the genuine quality that the particular people are trying to project or proclaim or something.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant by the like?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying most of it is between chesed and moon,
Yeah.
chesed and moonim, because like those seem to just be different things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't discounting your question. I was just wanting to cast a
Yeah.
wider net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the just clarifying like what's going on, is the Ishamunim like part of like the Me'at Adam or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rabbi
Otherwise,
Shmuel?
it wouldn't make too much sense to me to say rove,
Okay, why?
because rove is among the majority of them. And then if the ish and munim is also in the majority of them, like why is it even highlighting the majority of them? And like
And
if
why
I
is it
assume
so hard to find? Like,
and then why is it hard to find? Yeah.
Yeah.
Presumably he's hard to find because he's in the minority.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Ariel?
Yeah, I wanted to just ask a clarification question on the pasuk itself.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stick with like Rasadigan for a second.
Yeah.
When he says you will find that most people, is he
Yeah.
referring to the people who are describing his own kindness, or the people who find those people who are describing his own kindness?
So you will find that most people is actually a category of pasuk inside Yugon, or in Mishlei according to Yugon. Let me just see if I can find where he talked about it. I'm looking in the hard copy. I don't have to look on my PDF. He classifies all the pesukim in the beginning of Mishlei. Yeah. Okay. So he says, hold on. Okay. So the fourth type of pasuk, we're not going to go through all of them right now. Maybe good to do at some point. Harvi sipur davar shematzu hachacham is a narrative or is telling what the Chacham found. V'hu matzui hach bein bnei adam, and it is common among people. V'hu amro ashir barashim yimshol. For example, there's a pasuk that says a wealthy person will rule over the poor. V'amru chacham be'einav ish ashir, and it also says a rich man is wise in his own eyes. Divrei hachacham ela einam lo tzivui v'lo tara. These words of this chacham are not a commandment or prohibition. Ela tzipur hamitzvah, just telling the fact. Asher timsa she'asherim b'ofen, that you'll find rich people who are like this. V'chein amru lo yachpotz ksil b'tbuna shiur hamitziot. So too, when it says a fool does not desire understanding, that is a description of a reality. Okay, hold on. V'hachamishi, I think this is also relevant. Davar she'amru b'lashon klali v'inyanim miyuchad. There are statements that are made in a general fashion, but they're really talking about specific cases. Kamru mivarak re'ehu b'kol gadol. There's a pasuk. This is a famous pasuk. One who blesses his fellow in a loud voice in the morning is really like a curse, cursing him. So that sounds like a general principle, but then Sadiq says, "Pirusha yesh hamavarach et re'ehu b'kol gadol b'boker b'hashkama v'hilo be'inav nefshavos l'gidukin klomer b'libo." Meaning, but it's really talking about a specific case. Okay. So here, I think this is answering your question, Ariel. He's saying that this is just another example where he's just telling you like a statistic, that among most people, then you got this phenomenon of ish yikra ish chasto, and then there are not that many ish emunims, and that's why you won't find them. But he's just the reason why Sadiq is framing it as timta. Sadiq does that for pesukim of those two categories that I said. You will find, because he's highlighting that it's. In other words, you should not read the pasuk. Here's a good way to say it: you should not read the pasuk as prescriptive, as among mankind, yikra ish chasto, a man should proclaim his kindnesses. That's why Sadiq has to add timsa, because he's saying it's just describing facts.
Yeah.
Got it.
Not quite yet. Yeah.
I just want to say about the question about the two aspects. I was like,
Yeah.
I think it's good to ask what's the relation between the two aspects, but I think we should also, given the fact that there seems to be a parallel between each Costo and
Yeah.
Munim, we should
Okay, sure.
talk about just what the relationship between this.
Okay. What is the relationship between the normal ish and the ish emunim?
Well, yeah, I was saying the
Yeah, that's what I'm calling the normal ish.
oh yeah,
Is that normal ish?
yeah, but the specifically I'm talking about the chesed versus the Muna.
Yeah, but the ish, all the people are going to be,
Yeah.
Meaning,
I'm saying between the relationship between the two qualities.
exactly. But the reason why I'm framing it this way is because there's no such. I mean, I don't think we should characterize it as the ish yikrachasto. It's the ish. It's all people are like this, and this is a trait of all people that they're yikrachasto. So that's why I'm framing it. What's the relationship between the normal ish and the exceptional ish emunim?
Yeah. I'm saying it seems to be the thing that's bothering me is that it seems to be talking about two different qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Like chesed and emuna don't seem to be linked.
Right. There's the relationship between the two qualities.
Yeah.
All right. Here we do have to ask, what is the practical implication of this pasuk, and then who is it for? I'm going to put that as one question. Who's the audience? So, like for example, is this for the regular ish, or is this for a person who's looking for an ish emunim? I don't think it's for the ish emunim, because he can find himself every morning when he looks in the mirror.
And Rabbi Shmuel,
Yeah.
When the pasuk says mi yimsa,
Yeah.
is he saying? I mean, what's the pasuk saying? Is he saying like who can find it? Like who can find it, or is it talking about the ish imuna? Like, I mean, I'm not really sure how you read that mi yimsa.
I think it's saying like it's very hard to find. It's a rhetorical question. You know what's going to be statistically improbable? An Eshet Chal and Isha Munim getting together.
Got it.
Right? Because who can find her? Who can find him?
Well,
Unless they can find each other.
Yeah, the reason you can't find them is because they just pair off.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah. That's definitely what it reminds me of. I think that's the one people are calling, right? Asian found me and stuff, right? Who can find? It doesn't mean it's impossible to find. It just means it's really hard, And yeah. Okay. I think we're ready for ideas. Go ahead.
So I don't have a fully worked out idea, but just
Neither do I.
but that's basically
I think we mastered Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that chesed is like is I guess like immediately like a loss to the person, but it's like a benefit. I guess in the long run, it's probably a benefit.
You're talking about loss like of resources?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a loss of resources, I guess that's a good way to say it. But it's like a benefit in the long run. In more like abstract kind of ways. I don't know exactly what, but basically the like but there is a benefit to being seen as someone who's like does that.
Right.
It's even better, and in a certain context, it's even better to have people think you're above chesed without being above chesed and actually being one.
Right.
Because then you get to keep all your stuff and people
It's
like
true. It's true. You know, you're raising another question also, which is what, if anything, is bad about Yikra Ish Chasto?
Right.
Because the pasuk does seem to be doing that as the negative compared to the Ish Emunim in some way.
unless it's saying it's another reading, unless it's
Yeah.
like not Timsa,
Yeah.
but it's just saying like that you should, like most people should be Yikra.
Okay. Right. Yeah. All right. We should keep that in mind.
That wasn't what I was saying before, but
Yeah.
I don't understand that last one. What do you mean?
Like you could, if you said it wasn't like stating a fact, but it was saying like what you should do, then it could be that most people should be Yikra Chasto, but the like Ishamunim, that's like a smaller number of people to be doing that, being an Ishamunim.
Although it is weird, it doesn't give any prescription in the second. It doesn't give any prescription about what the Ish Emunim should do in the second one.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So just to make sure I understand what you're saying correctly. So in reality, most people are probably not going to be inclined to do a chesed because it involves some sort of, cost.
Right, but there
But-
is
Self-abnegation.
gain of like being seen,
Right.
like seemingly.
That was what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's-
I want to make sure I understood what you're going to say. Yeah. All right, fine. Yeah. All right, so let's see where that leads then.
You see it one more time?
So then,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That was cool.
That basically their chesed involves an immediate loss. So most people are not gonna be able to see past that and will not actually do chesed, but they will see. But there is, I guess, more recognizable gain of being seen as a Baal chesed. So they're gonna, present that image to the world.
so then the Ish Emunim is not apparently not interested in doing that. Because we're also inferring that the Ish Emunim is not Yikra Chasto, right? That's, I think, plain shot, right? So he's not interested in doing that. And the question is, if it's advantageous, then why not? Yeah.
There's a slight modification. I don't know if you're necessarily saying one way or
You're another
another.
step, yeah.
But I think the people are like might be doing like a couple of acts of chesed here and there. So it's not like, and then they're like talking about that,
Yeah, and I think that fits into the words of Chasto.
Yeah.
They're like they do have chesed, it's just that they amplify it.
Yeah.
So
Well, it could be the Ishamunim, like he's actually trying to do a lot of chesed. Like that's why he's
Right. Like a Emor Mata Seharbe type situation, right? Is that these people are saying a lot and doing a little bit, and this guy's like doing a lot and saying a little bit. Yeah. Another possibility. Oh, what was my possibility I just had? Okay. The reason why this is answering your question, I think, the reason why it's Ish Emunim is there is something disingenuous. Which one's the right one? Disingenuous about the Yikra Ish Chasto. That the fact that they have to call attention to it must mean that it's not so much of a part of their, like they're, okay. Ish Chal. Okay, Ish Chal. He's new law mi priya. It's new law mi priya daha. Vayhaluhu. I gotta say the whole thing in order to get to the end. What's the last? I got Mishlei here. Yeah. I'm just gonna read it to make sure I'm reading it correctly. Last pasuk Mishlei. Oh no, second to last pasuk Mishlei. Sheker hachin. No, it's last pasuk Mishlei. All right. Tenu la mi priya daha. Give her the fruit of her hands, v'halaluha b'sha'arim ma'asah, and let her actions praise her in the gates. Right? So her actions speak louder than her words, which she's not saying, right? That she is so known for her actions of ageless childness that that her actions are what create the reputation. So she doesn't need to be talking about. I mean, she's probably not interested in it anyway, but she's not doesn't need to be talking about the fact that she's ageless child. Her actions speak louder than her words, and I feel like there's something going on there with Ish Emunim. So you get the effect of people viewing you as a ish chesed, but you also get the effect of them seeing it as a genuine thing because you're not advertising it about yourself. Whereas it may be that the average person has certain degrees of chesed or certain acts of chesed that they do, but the fact that they're advertising it, like it accompanies that quality with a certain tinge of like disingenuousness that like, oh, if you something like, why are you like calling your attention to yourself in that way? You know, what do you think, Joe?
Yeah, just regarding that last puzzle,
Yeah.
I always understood that to be meaning like, and someone like should praise her actions at the gate, or her actions are praised at the gate, not that her actions praise herself at the gate.
Yes, I
Is
think
that like a grammatical misreading online?
I don't know if it's a mistake, but I think the reason why I'm inclined this way is because the previous puzzle, this is why I got confused. The previous puzzle says, Shefer Hashem Be'el Yofi, Isha Yiras Hashem, he's halal. So, chain is false, and beauty is transient. A woman who fears Hashem, she should be praised.
Right.
So that sounds like
What I'm saying.
what you're saying. And then Tnula Mipri Yadaha, that's a command. Give her the fruit of her hands, or it's stated as a command. And then Vayihaluha Basharim Ma'aseha, that's stating I think that's stating a description. Her actions, Ma'aseha Yihaluha Basharim, that her actions will praise her in the gate. Not you should praise her actions. And in fact, the fact that the previous pasuk did say it as a command, or not as a command, but she should be praised, like as a should, as an imperative. And to me, it means that this last one is saying what will happen.
Okay.
But maybe I'm missing grammar stuff because I don't know grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know either. It's just how I naturally understood.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember offhand what the Mepharshim say about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like also that could be why the pasuk is framing that, or seems to be framing that in kind of like a negative light, because like the
David
first half,
Kyle? Okay, our
the
pasuk.
first- oh yeah, our
Yeah, yeah,
pasuk,
yeah.
the first half, the ishchaso,
Yeah.
because like if you're about calling attention to it, you're either not really doing it, like you're like just trying to like get praise or validation,
Yeah.
feel good about it, or you're like doing it, but like it like takes away from your doing it because it's like very much of like not lishma, like it's doing
Right.
it because you want that validation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just to comment on that, that I do think when I pointed out at the very beginning, this is one of the few pesukim in Mishlei that uses chesed, and I've mentioned in the past, Mishlei chesed is not a Mishleic personality, you know. So it is interesting that our pasuk ends up not being about a chesed, right? It's about like the types of chesed that people do and what normal people's attachment is to chesed. So it's consistent with my view that this is not a Mishleic thing,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even, so far the way we're learning it is not even that doing chesed for these reasons is bad, but that if you're looking for the reputation of an ish chesed,
Right.
you're not going to get it by calling attention
The
to
wrong
it.
approach.
It's the wrong approach, yeah, which is very much like that. Yeah, yeah, Ariel on the.
No, I think he was first though.
No, you get it.
Thank you. So I have a question. So, but is it? I mean, let's say you never call attention to your chesed, right?
Yeah.
Then could that also be a problem? Because sometimes maybe you are an individual who does chesed a lot, and some people may just not know it.
Right.
Because
So
maybe
yeah. So
you'd be helping them if they knew.
yeah. No, I hear. So I think there is a phenomenon. Okay, I'll say two things in response to that. One is that if you truly are an ish chesed, and I guess I'm kind of saying this more based on experience with people who are like that, is that word gets around because the impact of chesed is so great that it affects the people who need it in a like life-changing way, and they will talk about it. And it's not going to happen from one act of chesed. Like you can have one act of chesed that goes unnoticed, but the fact that if a person is consistently doing this, then word gets around. and so I think you wouldn't have to worry about that. At the same time, I do think that on a decision by decision basis, then if you are a person who is willing to do chesed, and you know that someone might not know about it, there is a practical reality of like making it known to them just so that they can know that they can get help if they need it. And I think if you didn't do that, that would be coming from a misguided sense of humility, where like, I don't want to draw attention to myself, so I'm not going to advertise the fact that I want to give tzedakah and support things, and then you don't, I'm giving tzedakah, you know, like I think it sounds pious, or it sounds like, it might even come from a real place where you don't want to call attention to yourself. Right. I think if you're truly an ish chesed, then you would be sensitive. Okay, basic definition here. Tzedakah is when you help bring a person in line with what their needs are. You know, you help, you know, provide for the needs of someone. Chesed is doing that beyond what is obligated. So if you're a true ish chesed, you already are a tzaddik, you know. And I think a tzaddik who is going to not be prone to making that mistake I just said, meaning a tzaddik will realize like yeah, if like, you know, if I'm capable of providing help and then people need help and they don't know that I can provide this help, then it's not in the interest of my tzedek and my chesed to like conceal it from them, even if that would be better for my like ego or for my, you know, myself. So it's like does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Just to talk about
Yeah.
that phenomenon, I think what happened is, I guess, like at some point there'll be like, I mean, someone will have like a realization that like, wow, this person actually like needs chesed, and then they'll like talk about it, like you know, that guy, like he, you know, like he's like a real like huge chesed, and he did X, Y, Z, and like,
Yeah.
and then where we'll get out like that, that's like
right,
yeah.
which is kind of like the underlying premise for why each person is yikra ish chesed. People admire chesed, you know, like, and they admire it in a way that's like superlative. Like there are lots of good qualities that people have that they don't talk about because the quality doesn't have like that same press value, you know. But chesed, everyone wants to be viewed as ish chesed, like you started off saying, you know. Yeah. Oh, you had a point.
Yeah, no. So I think it's like, just to spell it out a little more, is the reason that the Ishamunim like gets the, what's it called? Like gets this
glory.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, heavenly glory.
Yeah.
More, you know, more like in a better way.
Yeah.
Just because the thing that people like about, or the thing that people praise about chesed is that he's not doing it for himself. Right. He's not doing it even for his own image.
Yeah.
So the fact that
yeah,
you're calling attention to your chesed
yeah,
actually takes away from your own like the fact that
yes,
glorified.
And I think that's what this is coalescing now, that this is the point of the pasuk according to the approach we're taking here, is that we were talking about a person who's the audience of the pasuk based on what we're saying.
The person who calls attention to.
The person.
That's the specific audience. I guess who's what's the subject of the pasuk that encompasses both Ish and Munim and the normal person?
What's the subject?
The subject, yeah.
Deciding whether to talk about it.
So the reputation, yeah, it's the reputation of chesed, right? Is that someone who wants the reputation of chesed, and like you were saying, there's a wrong way to go about it. That's the first half, and there's the right way to go about it. And the reason why the first half is the wrong way is because of what you just said, and that reminds me of Chazal's thing about like kavod comes to people who are not seeking it, you know. And I remember the Rav of my shul in Mercer Island, Rabbi Kornfeld, would say, it sounds like an old Yiddish joke, like what he told us, like an old Yiddish joke, but like this guy, I'm gonna butcher it, you'll get the point. It's like this guy like goes to his Rav and said like, I'm trying to get kavod, and you know, and Fazal said that like, you know, hold on.
I actually know the.
You do? Can you know to say it better than I'm going to? Probably at a low bar.
Yeah. I'm trying like yeah. I don't know, I'm doing better. I think it's
yeah.
So it's also, you know, that if you run from kavod,
if you run from kavod, then kavod will chase you, right?
I'm running from kavod and kavod's not chasing me.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, because you keep looking back.
Yeah. Oh, I would say because you're running backwards. That was the punchline I heard. It's like, yeah, but that's the thing. I do think I think that was an important nuance, is that say what you said again about the reason why the Ishamunim.
Yeah, meaning the thing that people like glorify about chesed is that you're doing it for other people and not
Right.
for yourself.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are calling attention to your own chesed
Yeah.
actually takes away from the glory that people have.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So it's funny, just on a large scale practical application so far, and I realize that there are different reasons for people to do this, but I always get kind of amused when I see like whether it's like yeshivas or seminaries, like having tons of like they do like a chesed activity and then they put it all over Instagram, and like that is what they're trying to do. Is they are trying to get reputation that our school or institution cares about like mitos and chesed and stuff. But like that like as a societal practice that completely flies in the face of this pasuk. Like they're actually not going to not going to get that. It's just interesting. Yeah, I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it, but
I don't think they're actually doing it enough. Like they're not doing chesed enough to actually just get the chesed name.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is I think is what the people in the first half thought they are.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? Yeah.
So I have another thing about the trustworthiness. This is not exactly the same type of thing. It's not much of it.
Can I add on to this first?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to add that like a year ago in Robert Peter Shear, we did something in Gemara about like it's an isser to have a bad reputation,
Okay.
right? So like
I don't know what it means, but okay.
like meaning it's if you're like I don't know, let's say if it's known, I don't know exactly what the kids, but if it's known that you're like a prostitute, like or like even there's like a hint to that.
Mhm.
Not it may not necessarily you are, but like that's like a problem.
Mhm.
Right?
Okay.
I think that's like an answer.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know what this would be, but yeah.
Well, but I'm just saying
Okay,
that
sorry, yeah.
as I'll find you the story. But
Yeah,
in reverse, like if someone is like like I don't know, make it like Sarah Mania, like if someone like says, oh yeah, I saw her go into the room with someone, like people will just deny that.
Right.
It's like that reputation is like it's very strong. And
Yeah.
no one can
Yeah.
really,
It's like a
deny
deflection
it.
shield of
Yeah.
against suspicions. Yeah.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminded me of an Alpha thing, but
Yeah.
that's like
It reminded me of another Mishlei thing too. Yeah. Go ahead.
So this was slightly different because it's about business.
Yeah.
But, if a person, this is more about the dishonesty aspect of the first half.
Yeah.
If a person talks about how honest they are in business, then that like raises a red flag. Like, why are you talking about being honest
Yeah.
in business?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So that I think is a good example of the larger mistake that this falls into.
Yeah.
The mistake that Mitchell is pointing out is that you're kind of jeopardizing your own chances of getting this reputation.
Yeah.
The red flag is even worse,
Yeah.
which makes them suspicious that you're the opposite of what you say.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's what this puzzle is talking
Yeah.
about, but it is the same kind of
Yeah.
larger mistake.
Yeah.
Can I just further that point?
Yeah.
That I think like it's like just to maybe just say it clear. is
Yeah.
that, like genuineness is like is like the when you're doing something and not concerned about the fact that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing it for its own sake.
Right.
And you don't care about being someone who does this thing.
Right. Yeah.
But then calling attention to the fact that you're genuine, there's like a part that stops there.
Yeah.
Because like you're making it like you're focusing on the fact that you don't care that you're
Right.
that person.
Yeah, and it's interesting that chesed demands the thing that makes chesed admirable is the genuineness of it. Whereas I don't think, I mean, certainly it's not true for all good qualities. Think of another good quality, let's say for example, generosity. Let's just say monetary generosity.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think people might still look down on the fact that if you put your name on a building that you donate to, then people might look down on that, but no one's going to say that you're not generous. Like the
Right.
generosity and genuineness. It's not like lack of genuineness invalidates the generosity
Right. It just
in the same way that each chesed does.
well, you don't get as much of a benefit in terms of reputation. If
Right.
You're like a genuine generous person gets a better reputation than a not genuine generous person.
Right. I guess I'm speaking. I know. I chose. Maybe I've been learning Rambam in Dale too much. I chose the one example that is closest to the thing, but I'm subdividing between generosity and chesed. I'm not saying that those are the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Sorry.
yeah.
I meant like monetary generosity. Like,
And what's chesed then?
and chesed is being concerned for other people's needs and providing for them.
Yeah,
Those are two different things. I was talking about in relation to like how you relate to your money.
Yeah.
You know.
generosity can come from chesed, but it's
Yeah.
not, not, yeah,
I was thinking of generosity like as a behavioral, like results-oriented type thing.
it's
Yeah.
a depth. Yeah.
Like the person
Yeah.
who sponsors the building, like they're going to be viewed as a generous person, but not necessarily a genuine person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people in their minds, like
Right.
those are two separate qualities.
Chesed is the genuine?
Yeah, that seems to be the way we're taking chesed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we were off on the wrong foot from the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
Well, let me think of another example though, just to make it not so unclear. Like
Well, let's say you know the guy is donating because he wants his name in the building.
Yeah.
So let's say he's completely explicit about that.
Yeah.
It's very very clear that that's what's going on. He's still being very generous.
yeah,
And people will say, well,
Right, exactly.
people won't say that he's not being generous.
right.
But,
Maybe not.
but it's also very clearly not like him being like kind
Right.
and
Right.
It's not-
Here's an example that has nothing to do with any of this. Let's say like people admire like work ethic, you know. So let's say you have someone who's very hardworking, and that is evident from their actions that they're very hardworking. Genuineness doesn't really play a role in that. Like, let's say you find that the person is just a not genuine person. Let's say like they're very like ego driven and like want success. That's not going to undermine your assessment of them as hardworking. Like, you know, it doesn't clash with it. But something about being an ish chesed, if you saw that they weren't genuine, that then the estimation of that person in your eyes just plummets in terms of that very quality.
Yeah, I think because the whole idea of chesed is like you're giving of yourself to the system.
Mhm.
So like if you're doing that to get a better reputation for yourself,
Yeah.
then that undermines the
Right.
sacrifice for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's also, I was going to say this, but I didn't say it because it would be introduced complication, but I'm going to introduce complication anyway, is that I think a tzaddik, a Mishleic tzaddik, can still be self-interested in the sense of like, he's interested in bearing the system because everyone benefits and he's part of everyone. I think the ish chesed is beyond that for some, like a true ish chesed is beyond that
Oh, yeah.
in a way, yeah, is that they're not, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even
I was gonna say I don't think that this pasuk is just in terms of talking about this pasuk. I think this pasuk is saying to be in each chesed, but I think it's saying if you want to like develop a reputation for chesed, which is a self-interested thing,
Mhm.
then the way to go about that is to not talk about it, which is interesting because it seems kind of deceitful because you're not really doing it for like because you're really discussed it. You're doing it because you want to get the reputation.
Right, yeah.
but you actually become it.
Yeah,
No, but-
that's the thing also, right? Is that you actually do become an ish chesed, and that's the Mishleic spin on this, which is the guy who's going into it for the reputation will get the better reputation if he doesn't talk about it, and in so doing will actually become an ish chesed and not care about the reputation, which will make him better able to do it without, you know.
And make the reputation better. like,
Exactly,
keep working back and
it's a
forth.
virtuous cycle, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you know, it's like giving tzedakah. Like like the first time you may just give tzedakah because you know you want to just distill yourself from that. But,
Mhm.
but the more you do it, the more it's like you recognize the good in that.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it could be the same thing over here.
yeah,
It's
could be,
just like
yeah.
a matter of mind.
So we should stop here for today, and then we can do Mefarshim tomorrow? Okay, good. I think, by the way, with this, the average length on a pasuk will now be closer, probably more often than not 2 days.
Yeah.
Because I think we're gonna have to discuss it more and then look through more Mefarshim.
Yeah.
So.